It's episode 5 of Make Me Stronger with Dr. Mark, and today we're going to talk about something that you're using quite a bit during coronavirus quarantine and probably in your normal day-to-day life too.
The booty.
What does it do?
Well, we were spending a lot of time sitting on it recently, I think, but yeah, it's made up of the gluteal group is what is also referred to as. Our bodies become very efficient, and since the gluteal is made up of so much muscle mass, it's kind of inefficient because it uses so many calories to be firing and being used. So our body tends to go to other movement qualities and movement capacities. And so the hips, if they're being strong, that and mobile, those are two things that it really needs for you to be functioning correctly around the core, or around your pelvis, and then all the way down through the legs.
So on the downside, your butt's probably weaker than it should be, but on the upside, there's some pretty simple things you can do without any extra weights, any free weights, any special equipment really outside of a chair, and we're going to show you a few of them right now.
So the leg I'm stretching is the one on the left side, and I'm rocking forward to try to get a stretch on the back without letting my body really come too far forward, trying to keep it upright and erect, but also keeping it really engaged. Again, the core's tight, my butt's tight, and then I'm holding back onto my leg to feel a little bit more of a stretch onto it. Maybe I'll hold for like a 5 to 10 second count, and then I'll maybe do 10 to 20 or until it starts to feel really loose. The biggest thing you want to make sure you're not doing is arching your back. Like he's starting to demonstrate right there. He's starting to lean back and arch the back. He's not keeping the core tight, but then, so there he engaged it again. So that was, we had to do this on purpose to show you a little deviation to the exercise to make sure you avoid doing.
All right, this one you need a chair, but that's it, with the wall behind it.
Yeah, so chairs, again, propped up or something very firm so it's not going to slide out from underneath you. Ideally, you're pushing straight up and not backwards into the chair so that it doesn't slide, but just for safety. And then what I'm doing is I'm just squeezing the buttock, sitting straight down into the hips, keeping my back really straight, and going up and down, squeezing the butt at the top and holding. And then here's a little advancement, single leg. You can see how my head and my body are moving with this so that I can extend my hip, push through the foot, and squeeze the buttock. So again, the biggest thing, making sure your core is tight in the front so you're not actually arching your back, because that's going to get a false sense of this hip extension or getting the glute to fire. Arms can kind of stay at the side, kind of press back into the chair a little bit so you can keep your upper body tight.
It's tough. Say that especially with the one leg.
So what this is just an opposite arm, opposite leg lift. So the core stays nice and tight first and engaged. And make sure that the butt squeezes nice and tight. The back of the shoulder blade squeezes nice and tight, and you're keeping that core, kind of that tilt down and just a little bit so that you don't start to arch your back. And you can do holds, you can do repetitions. So again, it just depends. If you're doing holds, you can kind of work up to 30-second holds at a time. If you're doing repetitions, make sure you're really engaging the muscles at the very top. And then a little advancement, I'm up on my toes now, but still keeping my knees just hovered off the ground. And I'm doing the same thing. And this is a much more difficult version to really engage the core, but I'm focusing on the same thing, squeezing through the butt, squeezing through the back of the shoulder blade, kind of pushing your shoulder blades down, and you're pushing your body away from the floor. You want to keep that feeling just as much so that you don't sag into that shoulder.
Well, one thing I found while doing these is I almost have to train my nerves and my body to fire, because I'm not used to firing the butt. That sounds amazingly beautiful, but I'm not used to firing those muscles in a normal way. I have to think about it.
Really, that's the biggest thing that I program these exercises in for myself, is I want to make sure that I'm actually feeling like I'm using my glutes. So the hamstrings can kick in, so if you know where those are, they're the back of the thigh as opposed to the glutes being your butt. So really just trying to make sure that you're squeezing as firmly as possible through the butt and not the back of the leg, and usually that's a pretty good idea or an indicator to be able to do that. Another one that you saw, a good tip is, as during the exercises, is that little tilt of the pelvis. And where that comes from can also help kind of kick in the glute muscles or the butt. So that's another good one, is to make sure you're getting that little tilt, depending on the exercise again, but usually with the thrusting like that you're really pulling through the hip.
All right, so butt tips from Dr. Mark. That's what we'll label this one on YouTube at least. We've done 5 of these overall, and we're in the attic for the 3rd time, so this is starting to feel like the new normal.
Feels like
Yeah, we do miss the North Boroughs YMCA. We'll get back there as soon as it's safe for all, but for right now, I think we're doing okay. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Talk to you next time.